All right. We have 200 plus members reaching 225 soon. Good evening to all of you. It's so interesting to see so many people joining in the session. Kab start hoga, ho gaya start finally. So I see we have different demographics today, people coming in from so many different places. That's really interesting to see. I hope you all can hear my voice. It's clear, I am audible, and things are going good, right? Whatever I'm speaking, you're able to understand it. Words are clear. Audio में दिक्कत नहीं है. Can someone just quickly give us a thumbs up? Please give us some reaction in the chat just to ensure that ठीक है, the chat is coming in. मेरी voice clearly आ रही है. Of course, it will be a Duolingo. We'll focus on the English part and make sure we do not forget Hindi audience also. Yes, so we're getting in good evenings from so many of you. Good evening to all of you. Good evening. Yes. So I think the voice is clear. I think uh, the pace of delivery is perfect, and this is a good start. So I hope you all are excited. That's the reason you are here. We are doing RAG. It's a big thing these days, although there is much more to RAG, right? So RAG is like retrieval augmented generation. We will be talking about this session. Before we dive into the concept of RAG, dive into or start the session, let us quickly understand the process of how do we do the attendance and how do we mark our attendance so that we can generate a free certification. Now, trust me, having a certification for RAG is beneficial finding job these days, right? So, as you all know, we can simply go on to our YouTube platform. Uh, of course, you are there. If we go to the if you go to the YouTube live, you will see that uh, in the comment or the description section, you will find there's an all-in-one document, right? So this is the only document you need to manage everything, be it your attendance, be it your certification generation, and everything, right? So you can simply click on this link, and as you click on the link, you will see that okay. So this is the all-in-one document. Yes, the rag bot. Let me, yes. Let me just check with the uh, site to do attendance. Okay. Yes. All right. This is the one link. Everything is in the one link right over here. So of course we have to be signed in to avail it. So let me just quickly sign in over here. So as soon as I click in, let me just fill in the OTP for verification. There we go. So yes, I'll just quickly mock it out. So of course you might have done this process. You are registered to this platform. Here we are, right? So make sure that you are already enrolled for this platform. Okay, let me see if there are any chats coming in. Okay. So English is good. Yes, we will majorly stick with English. Don't worry. Okay, English is good. Okay. So Python full stacks have jobs and learn Python full stack of JavaScript. Of course, Python full stack do have pretty much job opportunities. And yes, so once you have enrolled the session on all-in-one document which we have, you can simply mark your attendance right over here. Maybe you can join in our communities such as the WhatsApp and Discord one. Now these are the communities where you will find a lot of upcoming sessions, updates, and trust me, this is a good community to be in order to be more updated on the tech side. It is really interesting to have certain good communities in your digital feeds, right? So make sure that you try to join in over here, and you can add this schedules to the calendar. And right over here you see day one, RAG basics. So this is a 2 days Python workshop. When we say 2 days, it is 6 to 8 p.m. is the scheduled time, and we have a certain syllabus designed for this marathon that we're doing for RAG, right? So once you click on mark attendance, this is maybe you can select your qualification, then your college name. For now, I'll just keep it dummy, okay? And the program, I'll just you can just select whatever program it is in, and right over here. All right. So this is a one-time process. Once you've done it, right over here, you will see how likely are you going to recommend the session to your friend. This is where you will be rating how satisfied was this session for you. Did you get what you came here for? So based on that, maybe you can give a rating anywhere around that. And what can be improved? Maybe you can put in your the, the comments or the thoughts that you have. Could be the doubt solving or the interaction communication. Could others could be right over here, right? This is mock test feedback. Now let us mark attendance. So this is how you mark attendance, and carefully note, and once you're done with it, you can go and mark attendance for the second session. Once you're done with it, you will be able to generate the certification. You can see your progress in this green highlighted progress bar, where you will be able to, once you have generated 100% attendance, or you have completed this program, you will receive a free certificate for this program. So that's in that all. We have the all-in-one document right over here: registration, attendance, LU coins, and certification. Everything in this document, you will find it over here. You can simply build this site quickly, like just log into it and mark your attendance. Make sure that you mark your attendance to achieve the certification, and you have to join in tomorrow as well, because people who will only successfully mark attendance on day 1 and day 2 and participate will be able to generate the free certification. Now, with that being said, we will be starting now. All right. Now we have chat coming in. Okay. Okay, so how much time for this session? This session could be up to 2 hours. Okay. Now let us quickly understand what is the agenda. What are we studying in the coming 2 days? What is the plan? So the expectation here is that we know a little bit of Python. We know a bit about AI. We could be backend developers, we could be full stack developers, we could be AI ML developers. All are welcomed here. This session could be little too much to grab for people who are still learning the syntax of Python. But if you know how to create even a function in Python, you understand the syntax of any programming language, I would say. If you understand how loops and function programming works, you are very well to fit in this session. Okay. All right. Okay. Now we will maintain the decorum. We will make sure that the chats are being used for Q&A, for doubts and for interactions, right? Cool. So with that being said, let us have our introduction to the agenda for today. The agenda for today is that we will talk about RAG completely. What is RAG in the very first place? What is fine tuning? What is large language model? What is the architecture of RAG? How chat models are made? What is a component that goes into creating a RAG system, right? We'll talk about the architecture of RAG. How does it look like? What is a retriever? What is a generator? What is a ranker, right? We'll discuss these many things. We will discuss few frameworks which are important for you to learn, which are needed as an essential skill to become a large language model or Gen AI developer, especially building solutions related to large language models, chatbots, and things like that, right? Okay. So that's really important. Now, once that is done, the session for tomorrow will hold a very special place for the people who have successfully learned the concepts today. That is hands-on, complete hands-on, right? Okay, I know nothing about Python, but I'm very well aware of Java. Am I good to go? Definitely. As I said, anyone who is an AI ML enthusiast, anyone who has a little bit of concept of how loops and programming work is very well suited for this session, because we do not expect any prerequisites apart from the basics of programming, be it in any language. It's fine. Okay. Yes. Now, the idea here is that We are making this series to be hands-on. The 2 day session that we're going to do is hands-on project-based syllabus, right? But in order to achieve it, there are certain concepts that we have to go through. Only then it makes sense to do hands-on, right? Uh, what is the point of just simply I type some code and you just replicate it? That's not how a project is done, right? So the idea is that we will make sure that the syllabus is curated to a point that you understand what you're doing. You understand to a theory level. Only 2 days of this session will make you capable to build RAG chatbots. Okay. Okay. So what are the prerequisites for this session? If someone knows basic Python and libraries can understand, I answered this. Okay. Yes, I am a student who is learning Python, but I know basics. This is fine. Yes, I answered it. Okay. Right. Yes. So, okay. What software libraries do we need? So, as we do the hands-on, you will discover we will need different libraries. Could be different databases. Could be Langchain to begin with. Could be Olama services. Could be the open source models. Probably will not go for the closed ones such as OpenAI and things like that. But we will build something which is very much interesting for RAG applications, right? Yes. Okay, so let us first of all begin with what is LLM. So someone had a question in the chat, what is RAG? So I intend to focus on what is LLM, right? So LLMs, as we all know, are nothing but large language models. Now, if we just remove the first L, which stands for large here, we have LM, which is language models, which have always been there with us for a while now, right? In fact, the very first language model, the primitive ones were only limited to a vocabulary of digits 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Then going in ahead with symbols, going in ahead with limited vocabulary, building a rule-based chatbot to coming to a free-flow natural language concept, to a language model, to a large language models, right? Okay. So I'm learning machine learning. Is it okay to continue this session? Definitely. I have answered it. On which platform are we going to perform the project? I have answered it. Any Python IDE will do. We need not worry about these things, whether it is VS Code or PyCharm or even a browser-based Python editor. You just need to understand the concepts. So any IDE is welcome, students. Any IDE is welcome. You can do code wherever you want. Okay, is there any specific app for this chatbot? We can VS Code is fair enough. Okay. Okay. Now, coming back to large language models, and I'll keep the session like this, okay? I'll keep on discussing the points and parallelly be live in the chat so that I can address each and every question in the flow, right? So everyone has different style of teaching. I appreciate the interactive process. It's you need not wait for me to complete or to find the correct moment to place your question. Maybe if I miss your question, you can repeat it, but anytime you can just keep on throwing questions. This is more like an interaction, right? This is more where we will talk to you, we will clear your doubts, we will help you learn these concepts. So I'm a front-end developer for backend. What should I choose? Node.js, Django? Well, try to stick your questions more towards this concept of RAG or here, but definitely I'll answer all of them for now. Okay. So if you are a React developer, you should focus more on Node.js than Django. Okay. We will not use Streamlit for now. Okay. Yes. Now coming back. Large language models are what? So firstly, language models are something that are designed to address our natural language, right? See, the way we perceive language is something that is in it comes to us with inheritance, right? We were born with this intelligence that we are able to communicate. We learn words in very different ways, right? uh, we learn words to pronounce in a way. The pronunciation is very much different from the way we write. We have you can say capital words, non-capital words. Casing is important to us. We have different symbols to emphasize on certain emotions like exclamation, question mark, right? maybe quotes. So language is much more complex, and the way words are arranged around each other, they could be sarcasm, or they could be maybe you're really trying to appreciate someone, right? That would be a compliment, or it could be sarcasm. So, or it could be a question, or it could be a statement. So the way we merge these words, it is very complex, and none of the models, even in today's generation, have the capacity to understand human level of human language, right? So humans are the only one who are able to communicate with this medium, which is natural language. But we have always tried to crack how we can go down to computer level and teach them how do the natural language works, right? Okay. uh, so what is the main purpose of RAG models in AI? Of course, you will get to know when you watch this session. Can you also provide your email or anything if someone wants to connect with you? Not at this point, maybe at some, maybe tomorrow. Okay. Okay. And right, cool. I think there's a lot of spam. Should I avoid it? Okay, for now. Okay. Yes. I'll skip few questions. Now, moving ahead. So why these language models are large now, the reason for that is because they are trained on large amount of data. So data has grown exponentially over a few years, I would say. Compared to what 1990s were, what 2000s and 2010 was, 2020 or 2015 has seen the boom, or 2010 and 2020 is the period where we have discovered the big data. So the concepts like AI and big data, uh, maybe big tools which are used to process them, but the need of the generation, because the data is growing at such a vast amount, uh, all thanks to the social media which has come up, all thanks to digitalization of many things such as news, articles, blogs, websites, content, information, internet, the social media has developed something known as digital footprint, and each one of us is populating so much of data at every second. Just keeping this phone on is emitting so much of data. Could be my location from Google Maps to other websites, could be the images, the chat histories. I'm using WhatsApp, Facebook, Instagram. Everywhere I'm populating data. I'm putting stories, I'm putting status, I'm updating my username or things like that, right? So much of things are happening just by keeping this phone on. So that's how we are coming into the concept of large language models. So the models which are trained on extensively large amount of data are known as large language models, which is where we see the emerging models like ChatGPT, Google Gemini, many open source models could be Falcon, could be Mistral, could be Llama, the contender, the Llama 4 models like Llama Scout, Llama Behemoth, Llama Maverick, and so much more. Quen models, DeepSeek models. These are all large language models, right? Uh, Sir, I couldn't mark attendance from my mobile. Maybe you can try to load the site in the desktop version and try to use it, right? You have to first enroll for the program also. Okay. And what else? If we don't have any knowledge in Python, can we still attend this session? Yes, definitely. You can attend it. Is there any requirements to make this chatbot? Well, you need a laptop, I would say. Nothing more than that. With internet connection and Python installed in it. Okay. Are there any APIs we'll be using the free APIs? No, we will be using completely local solution, which is where we will stand out. We'll be doing a project which is much more than just an OpenAI API integration. We'll be really building a RAG with our own large language model sitting in your laptop, which is where I would recommend. Okay, I cannot expect all the audience to have GPUs in their laptops, but I will expect that if you are here to do RAG, at least have 16 GB of RAM in your laptop. Okay, that should also work. And if you don't have it, Google Colab is always a fix. Even if you have something which doesn't work, even if you have mobile, I'll say open a browser and go to Google Colab. Google Colab will provide you free GPUs to run for a while. Okay. Okay, sir, I wanted to be an AI engineer with major concepts. Should I focus on which top programming languages? Python is good for AI. Okay. Right. How long is session? 2 hours. coming back. So this is where large language models emerge. Now, how do these models behave? They are probabilistic in nature. Okay, understand that these are again what is a model to begin with is nothing but a code which is written not explicitly to begin with. It's a AI model, so it doesn't need each and every rule to be explained. It develops rules on its own. But the point is that the basic skeleton or the basic theory behind large language models is to be probabilistic. Given n amount of tokens, what is the probability of the next token? This is what large language models are all about. They never understand language. They never understand what natural language is. Never ever. Any chat GPT or Gemini doesn't understand any question, doesn't understand any natural language. They are just next token prediction models. The reason that they are able to give such good answers or such satisfying responses is because they're trained on large data. So maybe whatever you're asking, it has been trained on certain type of theory in some point, and it just goes back into its training and finds a relevant information it has learned and redevelops or reframes it with the amount of vocabulary it has now, right? So yes, large language models are built on the transformer architecture, which is again a set of neural network concept. Deep learning a concept hai, from where we have emerged to have encoder, decoder, and self-attention capabilities. Now, 12 GB, 8 GB RAM will also work. Do not worry, anyone. Okay. Now the point is, we will not be discussing what are encoder, decoder, and self-attention models, but self-attention is something that allows this model, the transformer model, to pay attention to certain words in the given paragraph, sentence, or given corpus of text. Focus more on certain words to understand the concept of that context, right? Okay. Now, with that being said, that's how encoder decoder work. Encoder takes in your whatever you are typing as an end user. Suppose I have typed something that, "Hi Gemini, can you write a essay on my country in 10 sentences?" This is a natural language, a natural statement that you have given. You are passing it to the encoder model. Encoder will now encode it into a language which is interpretable by the computer, where self-attention will come into picture. Decoder will then decode it and generate a response for you based on whatever you asked it. These are two different components loosely coupled. Okay, you can even completely decouple them. You can have transform models which are just encoders, transform models which are just decoders. So again, we will restrict to understand transformers in this session. We will just grasp the knowledge that it is kind of a machine learning model which takes natural text, understands it into maybe like a computation form of vectors, generates an answer based on its past understanding, its training data, and that's how large language models work, right? And definitely, given their capabilities, they can perform various tasks like answer generation, summarization, text understanding, and so much, right? Now, what is the limitation then these models are holding, right? So again, I'll simply tell you that these models, they uh, tend to hallucinate at some given point, which is the most prime limitation, I would say. What is hallucination? I would say is that since these models are probabilistic in nature, right? So their probability can go wrong. They are nature of being probabilistic can go wrong when maybe they predict a wrong token, and from there it can generate gibberish text also. If you are an avid user of such platforms like OpenAI, Gemini, or large language models, you would realize that sometimes these models, the servers, they produce gibberish text, or they completely produce irrelevant answers at some points, right? Another way of hallucination could be, suppose if I have created a chatbot which is supposed to work for a banking domain, okay, could be a finance domain. And if I ask this bot, what is the recipe of hamburger? Now this bot is trying to give me the recipe of hamburger. Obviously, it's not supposed to do that. So this could be another limitation, that the models, they do not understand the natural language, which is uh, the big black circle, or the big limitation in the room, which is that they are just probabilistic. Next is they do not have updated or relevant information. Imagine that I have a company which is so restricted that my data would never be released on internet. So there are next to impossible chances or next to negligible chances that whichever company, could be OpenAI, could be DeepSeek, could be any other company, Llama, they might have used my company's data to train their models, right? So if you ask this model about data of my company, model will not have the updated information. Or let us say I have a model which was released in 2023. So obviously, since this model is in production in 2023, whatever information was available till the point of 2023 would reside in this model, right? And if I'm asking this model that what is the score of maybe Delhi versus Mumbai, which happened in May, 2 3 days back. If I'm asking IPL score, this model obviously doesn't know because 2023 is the cutoff for this model, or 24 is cutoff. So the lack of update or information is yet another limitation of vanilla large language models. Of course, they come up with hacks to improve it. RAG is one of it. Function tools calling is one of it. Fine tuning is again one of it. We will discuss about it, right? And since these models are trained on large and vast amount of data, there is almost next to minimalistic chance that you would be able to understand from where is the citation coming in, from which domain or module is or which part of the training data was used to generate this answer. It's very difficult to do that. So these are few basic limitations I would like to bring in about the large language models, right? Now, the big question, the big point where all of you have been waiting from the past 15 20 minutes, what exactly is a RAG? So, before that, are there any questions though? Okay. Attendance, I think you are sorted with it. You will be able to do it. Uh, you're from financial and banking field. Very good. I think you should have more knowledge about this. How ChatGPT and DeepSeek understand natural language? Yes. So Sardar Saab ji, the way these models understand natural language is on the concept of tokens. Okay. What is token? Again, fancy word. ये एक matrice है, M cross N की. हमने we have studied the matrices in our education, where we understand that they have M rows and N columns, and this is the concept. The base concept is token is nothing but an a unit, a single unit, right? Like for a sentence at a granular level, it could be a word level. Okay, a sentence would comprise of words. So similarly, for the large language model, the sentence which is converted into vectors is comprising of token. Like the smallest individual component of a sentence for the large language models is token. Each token represents a word. Okay, could be like more than that. It's a little easy to put it like this, but it is more different than what in reality it could be. A token is a word for now. Okay, suppose that we will keep it simple. Hence, I'll my explanation will not be 100% accurate, but it is easy and it is almost like that. Suppose a sentence is like hi, hello, how are you. 5 words make the sentence. So each word will be represented through a matrix space, which is like a token to itself, right? So hi will have its own token, how it will have its own token. So wherever we are using how, the same token will be used to maybe generate that. But sentence level could also have its unique token. Tokens could be word level, sentence level, paragraph level, and different levels. Like OpenAI has its own way to tokenize things, and different models have different ways to tokenize things. So token is the way how large language models understand natural language. What are source required for this session? Just a laptop with Python, okay, and a good internet, and computational vectors and quantum algorithm. Then, is there any chance to update the LLM time to time? Yes, of course, there's a chance to update LLM at time to time, which is where function callings, RAG, or fine tuning come into picture. So this AI that actually responds to the questions with the help of some tokens, like a particular word. Yes, you are right. Vegito, your understanding here is coming into the correct place. That these models do not understand our human language; they just understand vectors and tokens. So they generate responses based on the tokens you have passed and what is the most probable response with respect to tokens. Okay, coming back. So yes, I think Sanjana, I have answered your request now. Uh, okay, all right, and I'm just going into questions. There are so many of them, right? All concepts are based on vector matrices. Good documentation. Okay, okay. Yes. PPT link. Okay, I'll share the PPT link with you by tomorrow once we are done, or maybe by the end of the session I'll do it. Okay. Yes, you all can have the PPT. Okay. Siva, we will have a special session running in an MCP soon. We are planning it. Maybe in a coming month. You can request the team to have a session on MCP, Google A2A protocols. Okay, maybe we will go beyond. After RAG, you can have sessions on graph RAGs. You can have sessions on so many different things. Right? What agentic AI? What is agents? And then maybe jump into MCP. So of course we are planning. Let's Upgrade always keeps on having different sessions. So which is why I said community joins कर लो, Discord WhatsApp की community join कर लो. You will have updates where it is working, how it's working. Okay. So RAG kya hai, first of all? So now we understand that large language models, they are trained on large corpus of data on the internet. For now, we're just imagining it to be like English documents. It could be Mandarin, it could be Japanese, it could be any script of Japanese, it could be Hindi, any vernacular language, it could be any document, right? For the large language models, concept is very simple. Take the information, convert it into tokens, convert it into matrices, learn from it, adapt it, and that's how the models work. So they do not understand English, Hindi, Marathi separately. They understand that if you're typing in Marathi, it will relate that these tokens are more towards Marathi domain. I have learned it in my training data, right? So what happens is, again, we have seen the limitations of LLMs, which is where the retrieval augmented generation comes into picture, which is what RAG is, right? So RAG stands for retrieval augmented generation. It is one of the advanced techniques which is used in large language models. So what happens is that RAG has two important components. One is the retriever and the other is generator. So remember कि RAG के दो modules हैं, R and G, retriever and generator. Okay, and it's an augmented way to augment the capabilities of large language models. इसलिए हम उसको RAG, we say it something like a RAG. Okay. So what happens is, we will continue with the same example. Suppose that I still have my company with my private data, which could be like certain set of policies, leave policies. I have policies around employees. I have benefits policies. Maybe I give benefits to my employees in company, maybe in terms of gym, maybe in healthcare, maybe in medical or pharma benefits, different type of holidays, sick leaves, casual leaves, right? We could have so many different type of documents, HR documents. What is the exit process? What is the onboarding process? What are the current openings in my company? There could be so much of personal data to my company, which now I want to create a chatbot around it. Okay, I want to create a chatbot for my company so that all of my employees, all of my HR, all of my finance team, all of my C-level people like CEOs, CTOs, they can quickly go through the data in the form of interactive question answer formats, right? Or maybe suppose I work for Swiggy, Zomato. They want to create a chatbot. Now their chatbot should understand their company's data, their personal data, right? So which is where RAG can come into picture. So what will happen is, the model retrieves information from an external source, external data source. This is what I'm talking about: my company's data, someone's company's data, someone's personal data, someone's knowledge source, which is not available in the regular large language model. Okay, so what will happen is, I will ask a question to the large language model, and before large language model can answer it, the RAG model will come into picture. The RAG will retrieve tokens from my personal knowledge base which match this question, which could be the top contender to reply to this question. Then we will pass this question and the relevant uh, data that we have found from our knowledge base to the large language model. Now, large language model will read your question. Large language model will read the related retrieved data from our knowledge base, and the generator model will then generate answer for your question, right? So that's how RAG enables LLMs to produce high quality and more context aware outputs, right? Rather than any traditional large language model. So essentially, what is RAG doing? RAG is empowering the LLMs to leverage external data and improve performance, of course, right? So suppose if I have created a chatbot using OpenAI GPT 3.5, GPT 4, okay? Uh, these models that do not have the latest information about the IPL or the latest elections which will be happening in 2025, which is where I can reduce RAG. Okay, I'll create a backend service which will go on the internet at every hour, every day, however I want it, collect news articles, collect updates about cricket matches, and store it into my personal data. And now if I ask question, even a model with knowledge base cutoff can now answer these questions because it has augmented knowledge now. Okay. Let us see. There are some difficulties in marking attendance. The link is shared by the admin in the chat, so you can take it from there. Can you explain in short and simple words what is RAG? Yes, I'll do it once again for you. But sir, there is a way of answering that humans can understand. How is the bot doing that? There is a way of answering that humans can understand. How is the bot doing that? Okay, well, this is like a illusion. Uh, the models are so good at generating this natural language only on the basis of probability. It feels like you're talking to this chatbots in a way that they're understanding a natural language. No, they do not. They are probabilistic models only. It only feels like they're able to do that, which is why in the market there is such a hype that LLMs are the way to Gen AI, or the you can say. So we have three levels of AI, low AI, the you can say the normal AI or the high AI. Normal AI is something like the AI which will be able to understand natural language. So अभी वो है नहीं. It feels like that. Okay, I'll keep it like that. Now, Edelrock, to explain RAG in very simple and single term or simple statements would be, okay, suppose if I have a chatbot which is using any large language model, okay, it could be any model. I'll take for an example, say GPT 3.5, GPT 4, okay. Now, if I ask this model that what is the election result of Delhi in 2025, these models do not have that information. These models do not have any information which they are not on trained on. So in order to answer that, I'll have to supply some information to this model. So RAG is the component which supplies this additional information based on which the model can now answer me. Let's take it in a analogy. Let us understand that as a person, you are capable to understand English. Okay, Edelrock, you are capable to understand English very well. If I ask you, can you explain me quantum physics or the definition of quantum physics? Now, you do not know quantum physics. You cannot explain me the definition of quantum physics. What if I cheat for you? I provide you with a single page which has the definition of quantum physics written in English, in simple or maybe however words. Now you can read it. Okay, you have my question, and I'm also supplying you with possible solution of what the answer could be. You just have to read my question, go through this paragraph, now answer me what is quantum physics. Just because you understand English, you will be able to reply back to me at least what is the definition of it, right? So that's what RAG is doing. what RAG is doing, I have many L1 chatbot data, FAQ data. Suppose I have created a laptop, say Lenovo company has made a laptop, and there are many troubleshooting guides to it. People have many common questions. My adapter is not working, my trackpad is down, my Bluetooth is not working, or my display is flickering, or there could be so many questions which have some troubleshooting guides to it. So just to make our interactive chatbot, we can leverage large language models, but large language models, they will not understand our questions because they are not trained to answer this, right? They didn't have this particular question that I have a Lenovo gaming laptop, this and this model, and it has this problem, how to solve it. It was never trained on it. It can now rely on the RAG module. RAG is nothing but I've curated some data for it, which can help the model answer this question. The model will use the extended knowledge base or the extended knowledge now to retrieve some chunks or some vectors or some embeddings which are matching this question and then generate answer. So I hope now you understand what RAG is, right? Yes, yes you do. All right. What happened to your old YouTube account? I'm not sure because I still have that account, but I never continued with my YouTube journey. I never created videos, so nothing happened to it, right? Okay. So question is like in the market, it's suppose that OpenAI, DeepSeek, Google, Gemini is encapsulated with large domains except after 2023, 2024. It's not sure. Well, Pavnesh, in the year of 2023, it seemed that uh, the power, the capacity to create large language models will solely rely with the large tech giants, closed large tech giants, private companies. But having Llama in the picture, it's a game changer. Now, we have open source models, free models, which are matching neck to neck with these closed models. So again, yet the problem is that to host such a big large language model, you need a very powerful machine. Like if you have to run, even just not even train, not even fine tune, you have to just create a RAG module with a maybe Llama 4 Maverick, Llama 4 Scout, you would need at least 20, 30, 40 lakhs ka PC to just run it. So understand, as a startup, you cannot have almost half a crore putting into a machine, and you're not even sure your project will work. So it is limited. Small companies cannot, for now, train large language models. It requires a lot of training. To bhuli jao. I was just talking about inference. Training will cost you crores. So companies, for now, cannot do it, right? So because see, from here you can take the idea how large these models are to train. Okay. Is there any way to contact Let's Upgrade out of live sessions for some guidance? Yes, we have the community pages. We have dedicated tech team. You can go to the all-in-one document. You'll be able to find how you can connect to Let's Upgrade. How does the web search feature of ChatGPT work? As it gives answers to recent queries. Well, again, it is a combination of RAG and graph RAG, okay, and function calling, tool callings, and a lot of things around it. Yes, it works on these concepts. So the work of RAG is if the knowledge is not available, then search the answer into different source and provide it. Yes, yes. But RAG by default will not know कि knowledge present है कि नहीं है. This is not inherited property or the architecture of RAG. So we will have to design carefully our prompt that if a question comes around Lenovo laptop, then use this knowledge base. If a question comes around 2025 politics, then use this database. Or if the question is generic, then use your natural capabilities. So this is how RAG will work with different databases and understand how which question is to be mapped at which RAG module. We'll have to design a prompt around it. RAG needs permission from all the websites that use information. Well, web scraping is kind of illegal and allowed at the same time. You can scrap the HTML and extract certain information even from what is available on the front page. You can screenshot it, OCR it, and extract information about any website that's that's quite possible and hackable. So you don't need permission from any website to extract their data, at least what is visible on the website, right? You can just extract text from the HTML pages. That's how the automated web tools or automation tools uh, used to create chatbots for any website. Okay, LLMs are the RAG compulsory? No, RAG is not compulsory for LLMs. LLMs are by default good chatbots. LLMs can chat to you in natural language, but RAG is important when you have to customize a large language model to adapt to a domain. Okay, that's where we will go. So shall we begin building the RAG model? Yes, we will be building the RAG model. Definitely, we'll be doing hands-on, but we need to talk on a few things more. How does RAG improve the accuracy of the generated responses? Well, by adding domain knowledge. For different databases, we might require an external agent, right? Uh, Not exactly agent, you will need maybe the API keys, the authentication to connect to a different database. Uh, can we create chatbots or AI agents using RAG? Yes, of course you can. Is there any need to know about machine learning models? Yes. To become a good generative AI developer, there's a need to learn machine learning. Now, we can skip this slide. I think I have talked about this slide, why RAG is important. I've explained you that part. Now, let us understand generic architecture of the RAG module, right? So it is right in front of your screen. All right. So from the bottom right, we will understand. From the bottom right, if you see, there is a user, okay, which is asking a query plus prompt. Now, remember, I think someone asked this question. I think I answered that. Yes, Sardar Saabji asked that how would RAG know that, how would the LLM know that I should use RAG? So see how the generic RAG approach works. It uses query plus prompt. So prompt is where you have to engineer it correctly so that the query is transferred to RAG. Okay, so once we pass the query and the prompt, it is formatted, okay, with the pre-processing, and the query and prompt is passed to an embedding model. Now, embedding model is again a type of a model. We have large language models. Similarly, we have embedding models. These models are great at converting your text into those metrics, tokenizing your text. Embedding model क्या करता है? Tokenize करता है. So if we have any text, we will convert it into embedding using an embedding model. क्योंकि जो large language models हैं, they understand embeddings only. Okay, so once embedding is created, what we will do is, you see from the extreme left, we have the private or custom data. This is the data that we use to make RAG. Hai na? So the private and custom data is also once passed through the embedding layer so that all the data is tokenized and stored into any vector database. You might have heard about normal databases like SQL database, NoSQL database. Similarly, there's a vector database, which does what? It stores vector embeddings. Nothing more than that. Nothing fancy about it. Even your PostgreSQL could have an extension like PG, download extension PG Vector. PG Vector extension is available for Postgres. NoSQL MongoDB has its own vector support. There are many popular vector databases available in the market. Closed ones could be Pinecone, Viviat, TypeSense. Many open source inbuilt memory databases like FAISS, Phase, a Facebook vector database model. So there are many vector databases. So होगा क्या that you can first load your documents, your personal documents or your custom documents, create embeddings out of it, store it into vector database. Now a user gives a query and a prompt that, hey, give me the updates on the current match. We will also pass this query and prompt through an embedding layer and store it into vector database. Now we have embeddings on the query, we have embeddings on the retrieval or the custom database. Now we will pass it into a retriever. It will find with the prompt that, okay, this is about match, a cricket match. Current, it will convert it into timestamp. Okay, I'm just giving you some logic. It could be anything. It will understand, okay, current means today, and based on that, it will find the most relevant chunk, the most relevant vector embedding, and once it is retrieved, it will pass through a ranker. Ranker is what, suppose if I give me updates about the match today, okay, And so there could be many type of matches happening. Okay, a matchbox, you can say a jigsaw puzzle with matching things, different thing to match different objects. Maybe a match about cricket match, maybe a match about football, maybe a match about anything, right? So based on our question, there could be many different embeddings which will match our query, है ना? So there should be a ranker. Ranker is again an optional component. Ranker does what? That ठीक है, I found 5 matching documents in my personal knowledge base or custom database which can answer this question. But which one should I use to generate the answer is where ranker comes into picture. Ranker will reevaluate that again from this 5 documents, which is the best top 1, top 2 ranking documents which are matching this question. Now, in simple, if I have to go back, if I have to cover the architecture till this point, we have a user. It is asking a query. The query in the prompts are converted into vector embeddings. Our custom database is already converted into vector embeddings. The retriever does what? It retrieves the most matching embedding from our knowledge base to my question. This question is retrieved context. This retrieved context is then passed to the LLM. Now, understand the part till here. If I was using any normal LLM, all this architecture is eliminated. Directly my query goes into LLM. My LLM generates an answer, gives me back. Now, the part of RAG is that there is a vector store, my own vector store. The part of the RAG is my query is converted into embeddings. The vector DB helps me retrieve the most matching embedding. The retriever then re-ranks from the custom knowledge base. And now we come to the LLM. LLM now has my question. It has some matching answers from my custom knowledge base. Using that, it will rewrite the answer now. And the answer is written. It is given back to me in the form of response. So you can see in this slide, on the right side, I have the generative approach. On the left side, I have the RAG generative approach. That's what RAG is all about. Are each of the embedding models on this page the same or unique or customized? There are different embedding models in the market. Hugging Face, you can go and find embedding models. Nomadic is an open source embedding model. OpenAI का खुद का embedding model है. So again, see, these are all like pluggable components into your architecture. In the market, I have to buy a graphic card, है ना? So there could be Zotac could be a company providing me a graphic card. InnoX3D could be a company providing me graphic card. Asus could be providing me graphic card. Same 4060, 4080 graphic card चाहिए, but each could have its own price, high, low, benefit, plus, minus. RAM could be different companies. I can go for whatever, like 16 GB RAM चाहिए ना, but still some companies could offer 6000 megahertz. 5000 megahertz, motherboard compatibility कैसी है. So embedding models भी different companies के हो सकते हैं, different type के हो सकते हैं. LLMs could be of different brands, vector DBs could be of different brands. So it depends how do you assemble everything and how do you create this. But the logic, RAG है क्या? RAG ये है. Now, whatever embedding model you will use, whatever retriever, anchor, vector DB logic you will use, it is your choice, or it is maybe dependent on your client or the availability, but the logic will remain same. Okay, companies might change. Embedding models could be from different companies. Vector DB could be from different companies. Get my point, right? Yes. Is embedding model like Python split functions? A little bit more than that. Okay. Yes. Yes, but all the other models are based on the same transform architecture. Only the LLM over here in RAG concept में सिर्फ LLM transformer based है, none of the other part, vector DB सब जितना भी है query prompt. So I have a question. If I use Gemini API for chatbots, I think it gives me data of current events like live match, new. If I am right, so why use RAG? Okay, so first of all, Gemini is a product. Okay, Gemini is a polished product in the market. They're trying to sell it. So they have added, similarly, it goes to OpenAI. They are offering bleeding edge technology. So now when you're asking question, Gemini is much beyond your RAG now. It is using function calling, tool calling, and so much more with RAG. Could be graph RAG, CAG भी use कर सकता है, cached augmented generation. कितना कुछ है मार्केट में जो लेटेस्ट आ गया है. Agentic flow वो तो पूरा agentic based model है. So the agents are able to understand your query and generate answer out of it. But RAG एक concept है. Okay, even Gemini will use RAG at some point to जनरेट कस्टम नॉलेज बेस. ये लाइव मैच का जो अपडेट आ रहा है, इट इज स्टोर्ड समवेयर ना, थ्रू एन एपीआई कॉल, थ्रू एजेंट्स. तो रैग इज जस्ट अ कॉन्सेप्ट. ओके, सो सपोज आप मशीन लर्निंग पढ़ने जा रहे हो, तो अभी मशीन लर्निंग का सिलेबस थोड़ा अपडेट हो गया है. तो रैग इज ऑल्सो पार्ट दैट यू शुड अंडरस्टैंड व्हेन यू आर अंडरस्टैंडिंग जनरेटिव एआई. So yes. So what is the use of RAG if you ask me? Use of RAG is simply उसका आंसर बस ये होना चाहिए, to empower your LLM with custom or private data. That's the use of RAG. Okay. Because क्या है, you cannot give your private data to Gemini ना. If you're giving it, the data goes to Gemini servers. Then your private data is at risk. Okay, so to keep it private, you have to use RAG at your level. अगर आप उसको privately कुछ custom product बनाना चाह रहे हो, right? So how does RAG work? Of course, I have been discussing this point. कि RAG is like maybe like it can be linked to a detective and storyteller duo, है ना? Imagine you're trying to solve a complex mystery. The detective's role क्या है? Detective's role is to gather clues, evidence, historical records to that case. Once detective has compiled, उसने अपनी पूरी रिपोर्ट बना ली है ना? उसने अपने पूरे केस की क्लोजर की रिपोर्ट बना ली है. एक क्राइम हुआ था, ये क्राइम आपका क्वेश्चन है. उस क्राइम के लिए अगेंस्ट सपोर्टिंग एविडेंस, क्लूज, हिस्टोरिकल रिकॉर्ड्स, ये सारे उस रिपोर्ट में बनाने का काम है. ये आपका डिटेक्टिव कर रहा है. डिटेक्टिव लाइक अ रैग हो गया, है ना? एंड स्टोरी टेलर क्या है? दिस इज लाइक न्यूज पब्लिकेशंस. दिस इज लाइक योर एलएलएम. स्टोरी टेलर आपके क्वेश्चन को वो रिट्रीव्ड एविडेंस, स्टोरीज, हिस्टोरिकल रिकॉर्ड के साथ एक अच्छे से फॉर्मेट में, एक इंग्लिश में लिख के आपको सेंड कर रहा है. सो द रिट्रीवर इज लाइक अ डिटेक्टिव. It is sourcing documents from your custom databases. The generator is like a storyteller जो उसको beautifully narrate कर रहा है कि what is the update of the current match. तो वो बहुत beautifully इसको narrate कर रहा है कि अभी ये score चल रहा है, this is the number of over, this is the person who is batting, this match is interesting, and so and so, right? So that's how the overview of RAG, how it's supposed to work, is do. So RAG is like an AI framework, right? I'll repeat this statement I've just told you, na? It is not something which is against in competition with Gemini or OpenAI. Gemini, OpenAI भी RAG को use कर चुके हैं. Like it's a concept, it's a framework that allows generative AI to access external information. कौन सी information जो उस मॉडल के ट्रेनिंग में कभी यूज नहीं हुई थी. The context of every word becomes an embedding in addition to the word itself. The meaning of entire sentence, paragraph, and articles can be searched and analyzed. Yes, that's true. So the query plus prompt goes to RAG and retriever compares, finds the most matchable vector. Yes, that's correct. Yes, okay. Interesting people that you are actually writing thoughtfully and logically correct statements. Your understanding is correct about RAG. That's good. Now, so RAG seeks to combine the strength of retrieval based and generative methods. Generative methods तो हैं ही अपने आप में. LLMs are generative models, but now they are retrieval based generative models if we introduce RAG, है ना? So the retrieve information is then used to augment the generative capabilities. So components क्या है? RAG के retriever है, ranker है, generator है, and external database है. Now the key over here is a good prompt engineered RAG module. So prompt is like an input you provide to the user to generate response, and it could be a question, statement, or a text. I'll show you a little bit of prompt when we do a little bit of hands-on. When we ask some sensitive information or unauthorized question, how does model is trained to not provide such answers? Okay. So Dance Freak, what you're asking is a concept of guardrails. Okay, it could go with different names. Basically, क्या है? Any question before the LLM can start answering it, we do a little bit pre-processing around it. we do a thought processing around it. Is this question sensitive enough? If it is sensitive or inappropriate, or the model is not supposed to answer it, it will not go through the process of generating answer around it. Guardrails इसको block कर देंगे. Okay, so that's how we prevent. It could be even through prompt. आप सिंपली प्रॉम्प्ट में भी इंजेक्ट कर सकते हो कि यू आर नॉट सपोज टू, यू आर जस्ट अ फाइनेंशियल चैटबॉट, आप सिर्फ फाइनेंस के ऊपर बातें करोगे, यू विल नॉट टॉक अबाउट हाउ टू डू एनीथिंग एल्स, से फॉर एग्जांपल हाउ टू क्रिएट अ बर्गर. सो नाउ व्हेन आई आस्क अ क्वेश्चन टू दिस फाइनेंशियल बॉट जो जिसके अंदर ये प्रॉम्प्ट डाली गई है कि हाउ टू क्रिएट अ बर्गर, इट विल ब्लॉक इट डायरेक्टली जस्ट बाय रीडिंग माय प्रॉम्प्ट. वी कुड गो एट मच एडवांस लेवल. हम आर्किटेक्चर लेवल में भी आर्किटेक्चर के अंदर ये लेयर्स डाल सकते हैं ट्रांसफॉर्मर्स के अंदर कि सेंसिटिव और इनएप्रोप्रिएट आंसर्स को कैसे हाइड unmask करना है. Okay, so what is the difference between RAG and GPTs? Again, the difference is that GPTs are transformer models. ये models हैं और RAG एक concept है. How does the RAG component play a role? I mean, how the retriever, ranker, generator, external data, all this work, like OOPS concept, or does it have separate database? Well, they work more like through a coding logic. Okay. Sir, generative component generates the answer, and the retrieval component takes the answer from generative component, then forward it. सबसे पहले retrieval आएगा, फिर generative आएगा. Retrieval will first retrieve all the data from your custom data set के ये question किससे match हो रहा है. Then the generative will use this retrieved data to generate answer. I think this question is being repetitive. What's the difference between GPTs and RAG? RAG is a concept, and GPTs are the transformer models. When I use RAG in LLM, do I need to train the model or leave the LLM to take all the information from the RAG? Well, this is the beauty of RAG. RAG is quick to implement. RAG के लिए आपको कुछ भी ट्रेनिंग नहीं करनी है, फाइन ट्यूनिंग नहीं करनी है. There is no sort of fine tuning or even changing anything about the architecture of the model. LLM को as it is यूज कर रहे हैं. RAG अपने आप में एक इंडिविजुअल कंपोनेंट है जो सिर्फ आपको आपके कस्टम डेटा सेट से इंफॉर्मेशन रिट्रीव करके देता है. Okay. And what do rankers do? Well, now let us understand what rankers do a little bit. Okay, I'll talk about it. I'll talk about these components. So I talked about a prompt. Prompt is nothing but the way you guide the model with your natural language. Okay. Okay. Yes, I think Sujay Krishna has also answered in the same way that G is for generative, T is for transformer. So can we combine RAG with a GPT? That's correct. Yes. First of all, एक चीज समझ लो कि जो large language models हैं, they are, some of them are based on the GPT architecture. तो जब आप ये क्वेश्चन पूछ रहे हो, when you are asking this question, can we use RAG with GPT? You are asking, can we use RAG with the large language models? So yes, you can, and actually you do it. RAG is a key concept used in LLM, and GPT is a model made by using transformers. Yes, that's correct. That's correct. Okay. We need model while making RAG chatbot. Yes, of course. We need a model, and that could be a GPT model. All right. Now, let us understand some components. Like I told you, external data set kya hai? So external data set is like your vector database. It could be different records. Like for example, I'll tell you, I am at my personal level, in my capacity, I am an AI developer specializing in creating chatbots using the generative AI. Okay, so I have made multiple projects in my career which use external data from clients, from their companies. Okay, this could be database records, this could be PDFs, long form text, this could be Zoom meeting ke recording, Google Meet ke recording, YouTube ke recordings, this could be videos, audios, screenshots, text, बहुत कुछ हो सकता है. टेक्स्ट पीडीएफ में हो सकता है, इमेज के फॉर्म में हो सकता है. सो इवन बिफोर गोइंग देयर हमें बहुत सारा प्रोग्राम लिखना पड़ता है टू क्रिएट ओसीआर मॉडल्स so that we can extract PDFs, PDF extraction models and things like that, right? So the point is, external data set क्या है? This is your knowledge base. बहुत simple, mean single language, single sentence I have to explain what is external data. External data is your knowledge base, custom knowledge base जो model के पास नहीं है. Vector embeddings. Well, machine learning models cannot interpret information intelligibly, right? इन द रॉ फॉर्मेट. आई टोल्ड यू नेचुरल लैंग्वेज नहीं समझते हैं, दे रिक्वायर डेटा इन न्यूमेरिक फॉर्मेट. एंड व्हाई डू दे रिक्वायर डेटा इन न्यूमेरिक फॉर्मेट? लॉजिक बहुत सिंपल है. दिस सीपीयू और द मशीन वर्क्स ऑन करंट. उनको हाई वोल्टेज लो वोल्टेज समझ में आती है, विच इज बाइनरी 1 0 1 0 1 0. So every information, be it image, be it audio, video, photo, text, natural language, it has to be converted into bytes. It has to be converted into the binary format. Like, and since we have to, since बाइनरी को अगर आप देखोगे तो एक एक्स एक्सिस ड्रॉ करोगे तो उसमें आप 1 2 3 4 बनाते जाओ. इफ यू ऐड 2 एक्सिस यू आर एडिंग लिटिल बिट मोर डायमेंशंस. इफ यू ऐड 3 एक्सिस यू आर एडिंग 3D 4D. तो मल्टी डायमेंशंस में यू कैन हैव मल्टीपल रिलेशनशिप्स. फॉर एन एग्जांपल, अ वर्ड किंग ओवर हियर इन द एयर, मान लो ये एक 3D स्पेस है ना, ये हवा है. इन द वेबकैम यू आर एबल टू सी माय पिंच. इट इज लाइक 3D स्पेस. किंग एक वर्ड है वो यहाँ लाई करता है, तो जो क्वीन वर्ड है वो काफी दूर होगा इससे. वाई? क्योंकि किंग जो है और क्वीन जो है अपोजिट है एक दूसरे से. एक वर्ड मैन जो है वो और मेल जो है और अल्फा जो है वो यहाँ आसपास होंगे किंग के इन दी वेक्टर स्पेस, क्योंकि दे आर क्लोजली मैच्ड. जेंडर वर्ड है ये किंग और क्वीन के बीच में कहीं होगा, दोनों से इक्वल डिस्टेंस पे. So the idea of vector embedding is कि हम 3D स्पेस के अंदर इमेजिन कर लो, हम एक्स वाई जेड एक्सिस के अंदर हर वर्ड को, हर एम्बेडिंग को पॉइंट आउट कर रहे हैं. एंड दिस इज हाउ द एम्बेडिंग मॉडल्स वर्क. सो व्हाटएवर हम क्वेश्चन आई एम पुटिंग इन, वो क्वेश्चन जो 3D स्पेस में जहां जाके जुड़ रहा है, आसपास के टोकन्स को यूज करके हम आंसर बनाते हैं. That's how I imagine the vector embeddings to be. Okay, like that's my way of imagining it. So whatever question I'm putting in, उसके साथ जो भी मैं, जैसे suppose I am talking about certain movies, okay, what kind of movie can I talk about? Let's take an example. So I am talking about Mission Impossible movie. तो Mission Impossible movie के आसपास आपको और कौन से वर्ड मिलेंगे वेक्टर स्पेस के अंदर? Mission Impossible 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 ये मिलेंगे, है ना. Then there could be the Dead Reckoning, the Awakening, क्योंकि उनके सीरीज के नाम है. फिर इसी के साथ आपको आसपास में एक्शन मिलेगा, थ्रिलर मिलेगा, हॉरर थोड़ा दूर मिलेगा. तो बेस्ड ऑन दिस एम्बेडिंग जो हम बनाते हैं, एम्बेडिंग मॉडल जो ट्रेन होता है, एम्बेडिंग मॉडल ट्रेन कैसे होता है? इट ट्रेन्स बाय मैपिंग द एम्बेडिंग्स इन द वेक्टर स्पेस करेक्टली. तो if I ask the model to talk about what is Mission Impossible, the latest movie all about, तो उसके पास क्या है? एक्शन, थ्रिलर, हीरो हीरोइंस के नाम, कास्ट के नाम, ये सारे आसपास पड़े हैं वेक्टर एम्बेडिंग में. सो यूजिंग दिस embeddings, it can create an answer that it is an action based movie launched in 2025, okay, and things on that, right? So that's how the vector embeddings are supposed to work. Now with that being said, so that's a little bit about the rack components. I am skipping it a little bit, but मैं समझाते चल रहा हूँ. I've made sure that I'm explaining you all the concepts correctly. So vector database is now something that we need. So developers have put their head day in day out with SQL database, NoSQL database. Similarly, there is a vector database जो ये embeddings को store कर सकता है in that vector space. So vector database is store maybe. अब embedding क्या है ना? Embedding is like आपका साइज ऑफ ईच टोकन. वो वर्ड लेवल पे आप बना सकते हो, वो सेंटेंस लेवल पे बना सकते हो, डॉक्यूमेंट लेवल पे बना सकते हो, however you want it. Again, ये कैसे काटना है आपके डॉक्यूमेंट्स को, आपको कितने कितने एम्बेडिंग का साइज क्या होना चाहिए, वो भी आप डिसाइड कर सकते हो. इलास्टिक सर्च, वेविएट, पाइनकोन, टाइपसेंस, क्रोमाडीबी, these are certain examples of different companies who make vector databases as a product. Okay, now RAG retriever. RAG retriever का concept I've explained you. So it is like relevance search. Google search हम करते हैं ना, so how do we find the relevant pages? So RAG retriever क्या करता है? It uses the question जो embeddings बनी है स्पेस के अंदर, उसके आसपास के embeddings को retrieve करता है. That's what RAG retriever is all about. And RAG ranker क्या है? So there could be many things that I could have retrieved. मेल के पास अल्फा भी पड़ा था, किंग भी पड़ा था, मैन पड़ा था, ह्यूमन पड़ा था. So आउट ऑफ दिस मेरे क्वेश्चन के लिए कौन से एम्बेडिंग्स ज्यादा इंपॉर्टेंट हैं, उसको री रैंक करने का काम री रैंकर करता है. That's all about it, right? Can we make VectorDB on MySQL? MySQL, I'm not uh, totally up to date with this. MySQL में अगर एक्सटेंशन आ गई है, बट अगर आपको SQL लेवल पे करना है, PostgreSQL के अंदर PG वेक्टर है. So सरदार साहब जी, you can use PostgreSQL to have vector store in it. Pavnesh is saying RAG is full of customized database having components like retriever, ranker, and embedding vector spaces. So how to create database of RAG? Which framework for storing the augmented data? So framework level पे आपको Python or Langchain. This is something that you will need. And Langchain is a good framework to have multiple components of concepts of RAG, like uh, सेंटेंस को रीड करना, स्लाइस करना, चंक्स बनाना. Embedding model, you have to integrate some embedding model which can you can now pass your tokens to generate embeddings. You can then integrate your own vector database to store them as vector embeddings, right? Okay, now that's about it. I think there's a question: will MCP be the future and replace RAG? I mean, we can create MCP for our own server or your own database or even web search. देखो, again, MCP is like a model context protocol. इसमें नहीं घुसते हैं क्या है, but इसको ऐसे समझते हैं, it is a protocol on how to design APIs. As a backend developer, अगर आपको पता है, there could be web RTCs, there could be gRPCs, है ना, remote procedure calls, there could be SOAP, there could be REST APIs, है ना, so fast APIs. तो different protocols हैं APIs को डिजाइन करने के REST API में एक proper JSON valid JSON ही रिटर्न होगा, then it's a REST API. It will take certain input, लेगा get, post, ये सब जो API के formats हैं. तो MCP is a standardized API designing का concept. MCP is used to design your handshake between the different large language model and APIs which it calls. तो वो development level का concept है. MCP has nothing to do with RAG को replace करना. RAG एक बहुत अलग concept है. RAG क्या है कि RAG is all about how you can enrich your large language model with your custom data. MCP API level का concept है कि API कैसे डिजाइन करनी है, MCP के हिसाब से डिजाइन करनी है. Okay. All right. So I think that also answers the questions. And as you might have seen, I am trying my best to answer all the questions. So feel free. फ्री का सेशन है, आपको सारी नॉलेज फ्री में मिल रही है. मेक श्योर आप स्पैम भी कर दो, कोई दिक्कत नहीं. I'll answer everything. I'm more than happy when questions come in. So go ahead, ask me anything, whatever you want. Moving ahead. The RAG ranker. I think this explains what it's supposed to do. For an example, consider a smart chatbot that can answer human resource questions for any organization. So if an employee searches how much annual leaves do I have, the system will retrieve annual leave policy document, and alongside it will also retrieve employees' past records. Okay. Now, देखो, how it will work is, ये question को मैं थोड़ा मेरे हिसाब से समझाता हूँ what it's trying to say. If I'm asking how many annual leaves do I have, तो हो सकता है मेरे रैक के अंदर काफी सारे डॉक्यूमेंट्स हो जो एनुअल लीव के ऊपर बेस्ड हो. कि एनुअल लीव ऑफ दिस एम्प्लॉय एक डॉक्यूमेंट हो सकता है, एनुअल लीव ऑफ द कंपनी पॉलिसी हो सकता है. सो अब री-रैंकर क्या करेगा, इट विल अंडरस्टैंड कि ये क्वेश्चन क्या पूछ रहा है कि हाउ मच डू आई हैव. तो आई हैव के हिसाब से ये कंपनी के पॉलिसी डॉक्यूमेंट पे नहीं जाएगा, ये इस बंदे के लीव रिकॉर्ड पे जाएगा आंसर देने के लिए. तो दिस हाउ री-रैंकर री-रैंक्स के अभी कौन सा जो एम्बेडिंग्स मैच हो गए, आउट ऑफ दैट व्हिच एम्बेडिंग शुड नाउ आई यूज टू आंसर इट. ओके, सो हैंड्स ऑन प्रैक्टिस विल बी happening very soon. I think we are almost done with the concept of RAG now. So see, just 2-3 more slides to go, and I'll help you set up the stage today hands on. Okay, so I'll skip RAG generator, whatever it is. Okay, I think by this time you have a complete thorough understanding. RAG based chatbot application एक simplified process अगर समझना है तो user sends a query, है ना, chatbot from backend will forward the query to the RAG module. RAG module will retrieve data. Okay, the retrieved data will go to the generator, which is the LLM. LLM will now generate a response, and response is given back to the user. Okay, So I think RAG architecture is done. Now let us understand one important question that many people will be interested to understand. What is the difference between RAG and fine tuning? Okay, this is a very important concept to understand. And if you understand it very well, you will be able to decide कि मुझे क्या करना है, fine tuning करनी है या I have to do RAG. So the objective, first of all, है क्या? Fine tuning objective ये है that it adapts a pre-trained model. Now, even before you understand finding an LLM, fine tuning is a concept in machine learning. Fine tuning is a concept in machine learning to further train a model which is already trained in past. See, one concept is that suppose I have to now explain you people what is RAG. So I do not have to explain you English first. I do not have to explain you what is machine learning first, because you are already a pre-trained model. You people, your normal intelligence understands what is English. So I do not have to train you communication. So I'm not training a model from scratch. Fine tuning is I'm training you further on some more focused concepts. So fine tuning aims to adapt a pre-trained model to a specific task or domain by adjusting certain parameters, है ना? And specifically fine tuning में तो हम टॉप लेयर्स को ही टच करते हैं. We'll not even talk about it. So RAG क्या है? RAG doesn't change anything in your model. Model के weights change नहीं होते. It doesn't update the model. It only improves the quality of the response generation by adding external source of knowledge. Okay, that's RAG all about. So all of your Gemini or the OpenAIs which are able to generate answer on real-time data also, they are using RAG as a concept. They are using it somewhere, है ना? RAG concept है. So training data क्या है? So fine tuning requires task specific labeled data set, क्योंकि you're going to train a model, so you'll have to make sure that the data is in the correct format, and it definitely adds a lot of time and cost. For an example, I'll just quickly give you some idea on how much RAM could be required. Okay, let me just find. I have bookmarked one of the website which I use these days to find the RAM capacity. Okay, just let me find it. Yes, I have the VRM calculator. Suppose I'll be using something like basic सा कोई भी 5090 ले लो. 5090 RTX A6000, which is a commercial GPU, gaming GPU नहीं है. And if I have to train something very simple, ये चलो आपको मान लो अगर ChatGPT लेवल का कुछ करना है. Okay, so ChatGPT लेवल इज लामा फॉर behemoth, वहां पे भी नहीं जाते और छोटा 4O mini ले लेते हैं, मैवरिक से स्टार्ट करते हैं. So to train it in FP16, like ये जीरो के बाद कितने डॉट्स होने चाहिए? 0000, 16 की फ्लोट प्रिसीजन पे अगर आप ट्रेन करोगे, suppose you have a sequence token of a little bit here. Batch size is again a machine learning concept, नहीं इसमें घुसेंगे. But even if we go for a minimalistic way, you will need 1400 GB of GPU, जो कि एक A6000 तो कर ही नहीं पाएगा. You will maybe अगर आप कितने भी लगा लो, see, even if I add 100 of these here, then maybe it is possible. अब आप एक A6000 का अगर आप प्राइस भी देखो, A6000 GPU प्राइस, you will realize that this model is not at all cheap. Okay, I'll maybe price नहीं मिल रहा, कोई बात नहीं, but you will be able to understand it. Price in INR could be 7, 8, 12x that budget, एक GPU. So understand how much of the investment is needed to just fine tune. तो उस पे भी नहीं होगा. मैं inference का पेज देख रहा था. Fine tuning will require 11,000 plus GPU. So anyway, if we reduce precision, आप उसको 200 GPUs में भी नहीं कर सकते. You will need 300 GPUs or a little bit more than that. So that's the amount of hardware which is needed to even fine tune a model. Okay, so which is where RAG comes handy. RAG, quick है ना, RAG के लिए क्या है, if your pipelines are set, they are very well established, मतलब प्री प्रोसेसिंग आपकी बहुत अच्छी है, आपके पीडीएफ आते हैं, आपका जो चंकिंग प्रोसेस है कि पीडीएफ को रीड करके टेक्स्ट को कैसे कट करके एम्बेडिंग बनानी है, वो अगर बहुत अच्छा बना हुआ है तो रियल टाइम के अंदर आपका मॉडल अपडेट हो गया, यू डोंट नीड टू फाइन ट्यून इट। तो ट्रेनिंग डेटा कम लग रहा है, कॉस्ट कम लग रहा है, अडेप्टेबिलिटी रैग की ज़्यादा बेटर है। तो this is not, I'm not a salesman of RAG, so there has to be some advantage of fine tuning also. So fine tuning of advantage तब आती है when you need a more precise model, more accurate model for a particular domain. मान लो you have to create a chatbot for finance domain, तो finance तो एक बहुत generic term है ना, तो इफ माई डेटा इज ह्यूज इनफ, मेरे पास बहुत ज्यादा डेटा है, तो रैग वहां पर थोड़ा फेल हो जाएगा। आई टेल यू व्हाई, बिकॉज रैग डिपेंड्स अपॉन सिमेंटिक रिलेशंस, रैग डिपेंड्स अपॉन वेक्टर एम्बेडिंग मैचिंग। तो मेरी क्वेरी के साथ बहुत सारे वेक्टर्स मैच हो सकते हैं अगर मेरा डेटा बहुत बड़ा है, एंड देयर इज अ चांस मेरा मॉडल हेल्यूसिनेट करे, इवन इवन विद रैग मेरा मॉडल सही से रिट्रीवर और री रैंकर इतना अच्छा परफॉर्म ना कर पाए, फाइन ट्यूनिंग ज्यादा बेटर परफॉर्म कर सकती है। So when you need more precision, more accuracy, and you have big data, fine tuning beats RAG, but RAG इतना जबरदस्त है कि कम डेटा है और एक दो दिन के अंदर आपको अपडेट करना है मॉडल, रियल टाइम के अंदर अपडेट करना है मॉडल, RAG क्विकली कैन डू दैट। एंड उसको क्या लगता है, उसको कोई जीपीयू वीपीयू नहीं लगता, नथिंग ऑफ दैट सॉर्ट। सो दैट्स द एडवांटेज एंड RAG versus finding a little bit for you if you want to understand that. So RAG benefits, you already understand them. Okay, so let's go through some questions. Fine tuning is weekly or monthly update, depends, क्योंकि I told you कितना खर्चा आता है fine tuning करने के लिए। So people don't just casually fine tune, small models को कर सकते हैं, small models 8 billion 3 models के आप even as a student you can try to train a 1 billion 3 billion, not train, fine tune a 1 billion 3 billion model. Okay, have an issue. I have i5 Acer Aspire 3 but low U series processor. Should I change my laptop for this type of project? Two thoughts on it. One, if you are not very serious that you want to use a machine for large language models throughout, maybe rent a cloud GPU. 2 दिन 5 दिन 1 दिन के लिए AWS का सर्वर खरीद लो, शेयर्ड ले लो, जैसा भी ले लो, स्पॉट इंस्टेंस ले लो, अपनी पढ़ाई पूरी कर लो, मतलब डू योर हैंड्स ऑन ओवर देयर, फिनिश इट, इवन AWS पे नहीं जाना और चीपर रिसोर्सेज पे चले जाओ। जीपीयू शेफ ऐसी कोई कंपनी है ना, वो शेफ शेफ कुछ तो नाम है उसका, फिर एक रन पॉड है, एंड देयर आर मेनी मोर कंपनीज व्हिच रेंट जीपीयूज, वहां से रेंट करके अपना प्रोजेक्ट पूरा कर लो, यू विल नो नीड टू इन्वेस्ट इन इट, है ना। सेकंड, ट्राई टू गो फॉर कोलैब प्रो वर्जन्स। थर्ड, एलएमएस पे ही काम करना है, यू आर सीरियस अबाउट इट, तो लैपटॉप्स भूल जाओ, अपना खुद का कस्टम पीसी बिल्ड करो। इफ यू आर समवेयर नियर दिल्ली या समवेयर नियर विद आईटी मार्केट, जाओ अपना कस्टम पीसी डेवलप करो। स्टिल मैं बोलूंगा वो बहुत लास्ट चॉइस होनी चाहिए, क्योंकि इवन विद 1.5-2 लाख के बजट के अंदर आप 16 से 24 जीबी के ऊपर का, मतलब अगर आप पूरा पीसी ही बिल्ड करोगे तो 3 to 3.5 लाख के बजट में आप 24 जीपीयू वाला वी रैम से ज्यादा जीपीयू नहीं ले सकते। सो चॉइस इज योर्स, मनी वर्सेस goals. What do you want to do with it? Finding is okay. I think I've answered that. Sir, I have i7 5th generation laptop Dell. Can I do programming on it? Of course you can do programming on it. Okay. I run Tiny Llama locally in my system. Great, interesting to know. Now let us before we are done with the theory part. Now let us understand what are the few things that we need to do hands-on code over here. So सबसे पहले I'll walk you through Langchain. So Langchain is a framework that we will need. Okay, the platform for reliable agents. Let us go to CD docs. So Langchain has many components into it. LangGraph है, LangSmith है. Okay, we will not need it. We will need Langchain का framework, how to use it. So maybe as a developer, if you're interested, You can select any model, Anthropic, Azure, Gemini, AWS, Grok, Mistral, or anything like that. And you will get some ready code over here, Mistral key, API key, and everything like that, and how to use the model. Of course, I'll walk you through some tutorial, build a simple LLM application, build a simple chatbot. You can simply follow this tutorials from here, from the Langchain documentation. And which model do you want to use? OpenAI use करना चाह रहे हो तो OpenAI की key यहाँ पे लगाओ, and complete code मिलेगा आपको. You have to stream a response and things like that. Okay. So Langchain is a framework which will be used to design a RAG-based solution, design LLM-based solutions. It's a framework for that. Then we will need Olama. So Olama भी एक open source platform है which helps you run the large language models locally on your machine. Now, I will try to recommend some models which will fit good for 8 GB of RAM, है ना? Like at least for that. So we will go to models. Olama के page में there are models. Even before we do that, सबसे पहले we'll have to open your terminal and you will have to check Olama version. Suppose Olama installed nahi hai, you will get an error over here. Olama is not recognized as internal or external command. Then you will have to go to the Olama and simply search Olama install. Windows में कैसे install करना है? Go to the download page. Windows में directly executable .exe file का आपको setup file मिल जाएगी. Click करोगे download for Windows, you will be able to download it. Linux में curl command चल जाएगी. Simply hit this curl command on your terminal. You'll be able to do it. Mac OS में again you can download the executable and run it from there. So olama.download पे जाके आप सबसे पहले Olama को install करोगे. You click on download for Windows. आपकी download start हो जाएगी. And this is like a 1 GB of data. So depending upon your internet speed, 1 GB कितनी जल्दी download होता है, you'll be able to do it. So it will just take some 40-45 seconds to download this 1 GB for me. I can quickly do it for you. Can you tell us what you have done different that you are selected as this post? Because sometimes we misguide by most of the people most of the time in that career path getting job. Okay, sure, this is a really good question. Firstly, I have not done something extraordinary when it comes to academics. I have graduated as a mechanical engineer. Okay, that's my qualification, but I did post-graduation. My post-graduation in machine learning and AI in the year of 2019. I graduated with my PG. I found jobs related to data engineer. So I have done 6 months of data engineering as an internship. I found another internships like Python developer. I learned something about how programming works, basics of programming, like what is functions, what are class, how to learn Python syntax from there, to design web crawlers, maybe do web automation with Python Selenium, use certain libraries, got familiar with Python. Then I landed some job in the field of machine learning in terms of speech recognition. That was my first company where I worked for. I learned about, because I had graduated with ML and DL. During my graduation, the topics were machine learning in the supervised, unsupervised, reinforcement learning. Then deep learning was all about CNN and RNN. The LSTM was like the bleeding edge technology when I graduated. So interviews are all about LSTM. So we built certain LSTM for our companies. We built certain toolkits. We built speech to text to speech models. मैंने साल 2 साल 2.5 साल काफी product based अपना resume रखा, where I used to build speech services. Then I joined certain MNCs like Deloitte, Fractal, इस level की companies के अंदर I have worked. And I did certain NLP tasks here. NLP के अंदर काफी काम मिला यहाँ पर. LLMs were not even in the picture over here. We use, in fact, Flan, DeFi, transformers, ये सब नए थे उस time पे. We adapted, learned about transformers. From there, I joined the current company, and We are now here with Gen AI. I'm upskilling in Gen AI. I've done certain certifications. I've the best part is I have built projects. हमने रैग बेस्ड चैटबॉट्स बनाए जब रैग एज अ कॉन्सेप्ट भी नहीं था. हमने वी बिल्ड certain integrations with function callings जब MCP भी नहीं था. So from there, I have seen the change in the industry. I have understood different concepts. I have some rooted experience with building generative AI applications. So that's where my experience comes in, and which brings me to this position, which brings me to this table at this level that I am here mentoring you. So that's a little bit, if you were curious to understand about it, right? Okay. Can we build AI image generate chatbot without using graphic card, using only API? Yes, of course. See, that's the power of API, right? You can use a generative model capable of vision capabilities. Even if you go to the models, this is not API based. Olama is on your local system, but you can go to OpenAI, you can go to Gemini, you can go to wherever Anthropic, find a vision model and use the API. No worries about graphic card. 2 GB है तो we can use just RAM. 8 GB and 4 GB graphic card. No worries. Okay. 4 GB graphic card के अंदर 1 billion models चल जाएंगे if you are planning to run it. Again, I'll give you this site. This will be interesting for you all. apxml.com/tools/VRM calculator for all the questions which have come up now कि मेरा configuration ये है, मेरा RAM ये है, मेरा GPU है, can I run it? आपको inference पे you have to start from 3 billion or 1 billion model. Falcon 1B ले लेते हैं. Use QK4M. This is like a quantized model. ठीक है? We'll not discuss what it is. And यहाँ से आपको पता चल जाएगा you will need 1.77 GB to run this model. So people with the RAM capacities of 8 GB तक के you can go with this model. RTX 3060, you can select your GPU from here, but these are PC based GPUs. Laptop के GPUs are different, but you can still use this website to find a little idea लेने के लिए what can you run on your machine. AI thinks you can use MIT, which is an open source. Okay. Can we also build UI and front end, or simply create command line chatbots? Or yes, I think if you're asking in context of this syllabus, we will be developing at least command line level chatbots with RAG. Can we get some means idea where we can make this type of project? You said because as a beginner, sometimes I have an idea, but do not get how to start requirements. Can you get some idea where we can make this type of project? Where we can make this type of project? This type of project, I think you can make it on cloud. I mentioned that, right? If you are low on budget, if you are good on idea, you can go for GPU Chef, which is GPU Chef is again like a cheap source where you can find GPUs. I'm not able to find the exact name. Rent Cloud. Let me check this. Vast AI or RunPod, which I have used RunPod a lot. I have used RunPod for cheap computing. And Vast AI is again cheap. You can start from here. The OpenAI model. Okay, can we continue with English? Yes, of course we are. We are not skipping any information in Hindi, which is only exclusive to Hindi. Whatever is spoken in English is communicated in Hindi. What are we going to do in this project? Please give details. Okay. So the project that we will be building is based on RAG concept. We will be using certain documents. We will be understanding how in practice, in reality, we can use Langchain frameworks. We can create chunks. What are different chunking strategies? How we can set up a database, such as a vector database. How we can use an embedding model. How we can store embeddings into a vector database. How we can create a retriever, and maybe how we can augment it with a LLM. Okay, so and how generate it. So that's the idea. That's the whole idea about this 2 days of session, that Day one, we understand what RAG is all about and its application in chat capabilities. Day two, we uh, go on hands-on. But before we switch to day two, the idea is that we have certain setup. Like you can, in fact, go to your VS Code. Okay, file. Let me open folder. Let us create a new folder. Let's upgrade RAG YouTube. Okay. Uh, I just created a simple folder for myself. I told you the prerequisite is that I will assume you know a little bit of Python. If I'm creating a folder, I'm opening up a terminal, that is fine with you. Okay. I'll just simply create Python dash make venv.venv. Guys, by the way, I will in a very subtle manner try to introduce you to UV. Although I'm not doing it here, I'm using venv, but UV एक बहुत powerful tool है जिसके through आप अपने virtual environments को manage कर सकते हो. So please, I'll recommend all of you to explore UV if you are a Python developer to manage virtual environments. Okay. So what is my current setup? My current setup is very limited. It's nothing fancy. I'm just using a laptop to do this. It has like a i7 14 Gen. It has 4060 GPU and 16 GB of RAM. That's all. Thanks for letting me know, Venom, that my whole screen is not visible. Let me just try to present it, okay? Okay. Let me just quickly see if we can reshare my screen. I'll say stop sharing, share my entire screen. Okay, let us just wait for the screen to come up, okay? Just give me a minute, I'll bring my screen live. All right, my screen is live, so I think you all can see it. Any questions meanwhile? Let me just quickly check that. Yeah, so we will be making our own RAG chatbot. I'll not just be giving you concepts, we will be building hands-on for it. Google Colab, Olama would be a little difficult. I'll say you switch to some Gemini. Gemini provides you free APIs if you want some third-party LLMs, okay? Where can I connect with you for some of the query and you are able to answer any platform? I think LinkedIn should be good. I cannot share my LinkedIn ID, but you can follow from my name, okay? Yes. Yes, sir, we can see your screen. All right. So I've just created a virtual environment over here. Let me just quickly say, okay, on Windows, we don't need source. We just need .venv script activate. I'll say pip freeze just to check what is there in my virtual environment. Nothing is there. I can just simply go ahead and try to install pip install Olama. हम ऐसे भी कर सकते हैं Olama को install, but we don't want to do it like it. I've told you use the .exe executable to install the Olama over here. Then you can do pip install Langchain to begin with, okay? So Langchain is something that we will use, and then we will go for Langchain community, and then we will go for this is again one requirement that we will need. For now, simply I'm telling you, to begin with, let us set up the stage. हमने Langchain install कर लेंगे, then we will install Langchain community. Okay, let us just quickly do that. OpenAI using image generation API, asking subscription for everything. Yes, it's not free image generation. You can try either free Gamma, Google की तरफ से Gamma model है जो free है, which will generate images for you, or you can try Gemini for image generation for free. What will that RAG chatbot be able to do, and are you gonna run it on localhost? Yes, I think you can just rewind the video, answer this question. Okay, I think I find the correct one for meeting user. All right, you can send the request, I'll accept it. So once we have installed this, the next part is Langchain dash community. These are certain packages that we will need to run our system. So pip install Langchain community. Okay, I'll also try to mention them in requirements .txt. Langchain dash community Langchain. If you will be using OpenAI, you will have to do OpenAI. Since we are using Ollama, we will do Langchain Ollama. Okay, and we will install them. We do not need to make our installments rigid by providing versions of these libraries. We'll simply do pip install Langchain, pip install Langchain community, pip install Langchain Ollama. I don't have GPUs in my laptop, but I can still use Ollama. Yes, I told you, if you have just RAM, 816 GB of RAM, you can run Ollama without GPU. Definitely, Vegito, you can do the installations after my lecture, right? That's completely fine. Okay. The next thing that you will do is Langchain Llama. Now, I'll tell you one of the most important things that will be needed before I end today's session, because students, if you fail to do that, you will have a lot of lag tomorrow to follow up. Okay, one thing is, I told you, CMD may try to run Ollama dash version. If Ollama is not correctly installed, you'll not be able to run with this tutorial thoroughly. For the people who will be using the Gemini API keys, only your LLM integrations will be a little different, okay? But you can follow up with the remaining of the tutorial, okay? So Ollama, for the people who are downloading it, I'll help you with the Gemini API also, how do you integrate it, I'll tell you that. But for now, make sure Ollama is running, and Ollama models, okay? Okay, so Ollama list. I think Ollama list is how do you list the models? Yes. So you will not get this output because ये मेरे local models हैं which I've downloaded. Okay, so the models which are compatible with my machine, I've downloaded them to just try out different models. What I will recommend is that go ahead and download Gamma 3 1 billion at least. So how do you do that? Ollama run Gamma 3 :1B. If you type this, or if you have 16 GB, you can go for 3 billion model or 1 billion model. You can download them. 1B something that I will recommend, because we are not building a product. We are just learning, so we can learn with the smaller model to begin with. This is a simpler model. Gamma 3 1 billion सिर्फ 815 MB का model है. It's a large language model with 850 MB of space. You can just download it. Easily download हो जाएगा. You should be able to run it. So when I run Ollama run Gamma 3, this command should start the model for me. Let me hit enter. So as I hit enter, you will see certain animation and it will say send a message. I'll say, hi, how are you? This is a text model, and you see the model is replying back, I am doing well, thanks for asking, as a large language model, whatever is the answer. The speed the latency in which the model will get back to you depends upon your hardware. For people with RAM based interface, it might be a little slower, but it will do the work, right? We just need to learn it. 8 GB RAM. Okay, so shop and style, if you have 8 GB RAM, I'll be really curious if you can just quickly install it, and maybe tomorrow when you join the session, let us know that if this model is running for your machine. Okay, good. I think that's all for now, people. We are all set. I'll just quickly recap that. Try to make a virtual environment. Try to install Langchain, Langchain community, Langchain Olama as your requirements. Try to install Olama, okay, on your machine, and install one large language model at least. Now, how do you install them? Okay, so suppose if you go to Olama models, you'll be able to find, even if you go to the popular, I think Gamma 3 is the most latest one and the popular one. You'll be able to find models like even 0.6 billion model, 1.7 billion model. From here, you will be able to find different models. Suppose I have to download Quen, okay? Suppose I have to download Quen 0.6 model. So here is a copy link, okay? Here's the copy link. I can just simply copy it, and I'll say /by, and I'll say Olama run. I'll paste the model name. If I do not have this model, it will first download it before it can run, which is where pulling manifest comes into picture. It will pull the image from the internet, store it on my local, and this is how you download models from Olama. Olama space run space the model name. Colon specifies, after colon specifies how big the model is, 0.6 billion model. Okay, I just simply download it, and since it is a 500 MB model, it will quickly download for me. How will you download this model? Through Olama? Yes, Apurva, I think your answer is done. Any other questions before we close today's session? Okay. So we have downloaded the model. Let me try it out. Hi, how are you? And there it is. Great. So it was really interesting to see so many people coming in live with a common motive to learn what is RAG. And at least by the end of the day one, you all have clarity on what is RAG, right? Now you will understand it very well. Nice wallpaper, sir. Upper Moon 1. Yes, interestingly, I have many more wallpapers which keep on changing. So I think we are done now. Any other question? Which one should I download? Gamma 3 model? Again, your choice. You can go for Gamma 3, no problem. If you're able to run it, play around, play with it. Today is your practice ground. Play, learn, see which models work for you. Olama run command hai, /by se up, you can quit the terminal. All right. Wait, sir, should I make this project in my laptop or not? Because I do not know it will work or not. You can make it on your laptop. If you have, आपका अगर सिर्फ RAM और CPU है, enough है ये project बनाने के लिए. You can go with your laptop. All right, I think that's all for now. It was really interesting to meet you all, and I look forward for tomorrow, where we wrap up this hands-on session. So thank you all. Bye bye. Good night. Welcome.